Hi again. In Armageddon Now, Dwight Wilson, page 114, talking about the role of Russia according to the interpreters in the Premillenarian camp in the 1930s, the equation of Gog with Russia. He goes on, this prospect was reinforced by events in the late 1930s which buttressed the Premillenarians' confidence in the validity of their identification of Gomer with Germany. Their prophetic expectation foresaw the formation of a great northern confederation of Germany and Russia, which would march to Armageddon, and they believed the Nazi-Soviet Pact of August 23, 1939, to be its fulfillment. Even early in the decade, as Russian-German relations had cooled subsequent to the Neutrality Treaty of April 1926, and any alliance seemed impossibly remote, the Premillenarians had dogmatically asserted its inevitability. Commenting on the rise of fascism in recent German elections, the Evangel magazine in 1930 referred to the, quote, possible prospect of Germany and Russia joining hands and attempting to conquer the world by force of arms in 1934, unquote. This comment was made in spite of the fascists' blatant anti-communism. The speaker at the General Council of the Assemblies of God in the summer of 1931 spoke of the, quote, recent alliance, unquote, between Germany, Russia, and other countries, saying, what the Bible calls the Great Northern Confederacy is actually in the process of formation. Moody Monthly called attention to the words of the former German Kaiser in 1931. Quote, like the Russians, we cling with all our roots to the east. Germany's next kin is Russia, unquote. The editor commented, if not linked with the West, it stands to reason in the light of current events that Germany will march under the banner of the rising nation of the nation of the East, and that is Russia, unquote. Our Hopes editor, Arno Gaebelein, in his 1933 publication, The Conflict of the Ages, likewise predicted the ultimate alliance of satanic Russia with Gomer, which he said was probably Germany. Realizing the unlikelihood of an alliance with Russia while Hitler was in power, Thomas M. Chalmers found it necessary to hypothesize that, quote, Hitler and his gang may soon be brushed aside and Russia and Germany will come together in alliance, end of quote. Apparently the prospect of such an alliance was generally welcomed by the premillennialists, but there were certain inconsistencies expressed. In a series of articles on Bolshevism, the Evangel negated its prior enthusiasm for such an alliance. Quote, in Germany, upon which country the Bolshevists placed their fondest hopes, there are nearly 3 million atheists subtly controlled by evil men who are subject to Moscow, and if God does not intervene, the country will be drawn into a league of wickedness against the whole civilized world. One wonders why God would intervene if he himself were the very one putting hooks in the jaws of Gog to lead this confederation to Armageddon in fulfillment of his own divine prophecies. In September 1936, Leonard Sale Harrison was reaffirming to readers of Moody Monthly the identification of Gog and Gomer as Russia and Germany, in spite of the realities of current events. The proof which he offered for Gomer was, quote, the migration of Ashkenaz, son of Gomer, who peopled the land of Germany, unquote. But by the middle of 1937, such dogmatizing turned to speculation about the actual probability of such an alliance. The Evangel asked, a Soviet-German alliance? ? And then here's the quote. For years, students of prophecy have seen the prediction of a Russo-German alliance in Ezekiel, chapters 38 and 39. Recent antagonism between the two countries has not favored this interpretation, but a change seems to be taking place. According to one newspaper correspondent, prospects are at last beginning to emerge, in the opinion of informed observers, here, that is in London, with the whole of Europe's diplomatic alignments of evidently undergoing one of their periodic overhauls. It is felt that the possibility of Germany and Russia gravitating towards one another again cannot be excluded. Advent Witness magazine was cited by the Evangel for the analysis that the purpose of Stalin's current anti-Semitism was to curry favor with Hitler and attract German technical advisors. According to the prophetic news, Germany's General von Ludendorff was strongly advising Hitler to come to terms with Russia and use Russian resources. Revelation magazine grasped at straws, speculating that the recent marriage of Prince Louis Ferdinand of Prussia, the grandson of the former Kaiser, to Grand Duchess Kira of Russia, daughter of the Tsarist pretender, might be the basis of a revived monarchy that would ally the two countries. Advent Herald claimed that a secret plot had been discovered that had advocated overthrowing Hitler and collaborating with the Russians. Such hopes were supported by similar speculation from the secular press. In 1939, the Evangel cited a Paris correspondent, quote, "When you come down to brass tacks, there is no obstacle now to Russo-German friendship, which Bismarck advocated so strongly, save Hitler's fanatic fury against what he calls Judeo-Bolshevism. But Hitler is not immortal, and dictators can change their minds, and Stalin has shot more Jews in 2 years of the purge than were ever killed in Germany." End of quote. Louis S. Bauman in Moody Monthly quoted Princess Catherine Radzivill's article in Liberty magazine. Quote, "The Joseph Stalin of today is no Bolshevik, nor do I think I shall be much astonished when one day, not far hence, enemies Joseph Stalin and Adolf Hitler decide publicly to shake hands." End of quote. Bauman then commented, "Those who know the sure word of prophecy expect nothing less than that someday, in the not far distant future, the seeming enemy nations, Russia and Germany, will shake hands, whether Stalin and Hitler do or not." Moody Monthly's editor quoted a recent book, Plot and Counterplot in Central Europe by Marcel Fodor. Quote, "Many augurs with the safe instinct of illogical people see the specter of this German-Russian friendship looming on the horizon." End of quote. Fodor found it difficult to believe that Hitler himself could make such a drastic reversal, but he said it would be a mistake to dismiss it as impossible. Put in a link to what Nelson Barbour and Charles Taze Russell were saying 60 years before, so 2 generations before this 1930s speculation. Nelson Barbour and Russell, Charles Taze Russell, coming from their Christadelphian and Adventist roots, were saying a lot about this Northern Confederacy, and specifically about Gog and Israel. So I'll put that link on your screen. See you soon.